I'm a risk taker by nature.
Okay.
To me, not taking risk is boring.
Right.
I don't want to be at the end of my life with nothing to show for it after working hard, right? Nobody does. You can't beat yourself up so much. The market's going to beat you up. If you make the mistake in the market, you're going to know. Welcome to another episode of The Macro with your host, Forrest Knight. I'm here joined by the lovely Andrea Lahoud. Did I say your last name right?
You did. That's
Awesome.
Beautiful, actually.
Cool.
I get it wrong a lot, or people get it wrong a lot.
I was like, you get it wrong. That's alarming. Well, she is going to ask me questions and then we'll go back and forth and talk about personal finance. So if you're somebody who's starting your finance journey, trying to figure out how to invest in stuff, well, you're on the right channel. I already said I'm Forrest, but I invest in stuff and I think that everybody should too. I have a small account that I started on Robinhood. It's a series. It's the reason I started this channel where I invest $250 every week. That account is like $4,300 right now, right? So $250 every week putting it into the market. And I have a community of people that tell me what to buy. So that's the genesis of all this. I'm going to keep growing that account and kind of use that as a springboard to have awesome conversations with people that I know and generally like being around. So let's get into it.
All right.
You ready?
So can I just start off by asking you, like, what got you so passionate about money?
You can, yeah. Or let's
like your background in finance?
Yeah, well, let's start. Well, you intro yourself first.
Okay,
then we will.
sorry, I was just really excited.
That's all good.
Well, I'm Andrea Lahoud. You can find me on social media as Food Therapy. So by trade, I am a licensed mental health counselor, and I also do some content creation for food and wellness. So yeah, that's a little bit about
Awesome.
my background.
And the food therapy thing, by the way, check it out. You review like local restaurants and like some stuff that's not so local, I guess, just like wherever you are.
Exactly,
right?
a little bit of travel, just like showcasing restaurants. And I'm also on a gluten-free journey, which has been hard. So
Awesome.
highlighting those spots with those options.
Cool. All right, let's jump into it. What you got?
All right, so tell me about what has gotten you into finance, your journey. I mean, do you have like a story where it all started? Like, were you 4 years
Where did it all
collecting pennies?
start? I was collecting like interesting rocks.
Okay.
No, but I think for me, there's one point. I don't know if this was like the point, but this is like the oldest memory that I have related to like money and like thinking about growing wealth was I used to live in a place called Belleville, Illinois. It's where I grew up. Small town. And I remember going to, think of like an old main street, right? And like if you've ever went to the Midwest anywhere, just kind of like an antique looking main street, right? And there's this theater called Lincoln Theater. And I remember going to the theater. I used to go there all the time. I love going to the movies in general. And I was like, it's very obvious, but I had like this a realization that like somebody owned that theater. Like we were going in there buying popcorn, buying drinks, and like that money was going to someone, right? It wasn't like a big corporate chain. It was just like a local theater. So it was like some guy that just lives in this area owns this theater. And that's pretty cool. And I was like, how do I become that guy? That was like the thought process. I was
And
probably
how old are you?
like 12 or 14. I don't know. It was just like I was young and I was going to the movies and I just realized that like some guy owned this building, like all these people, and you're like rushing by people trying to like get to your seat and all that. And then I just thought about that for every location on the street. I was like, somebody owns all of these buildings. And so it started with real estate. I'm still interested in real estate, still have real estate investments, but that got me really into real estate and just thinking about the fact that like, oh, like we're all participating in society, but it's like, if we look out the window, like all of these buildings, this building's owned by somebody, right? You know, somebody like just has the deed in their name. And so, yeah, that was the beginning.
Yeah, that was so insightful, like for a 12-year-old to think about that.
I guess.
You were built different. I know I wasn't thinking about money at that age.
What were your 12-year-old financial thoughts?
Actually, to be honest, I was a saver.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember like my stepdad and mom would pay me $20 for an A. Like the report card would come in. So I would get $20 for an A, 15 for a B, and then down the scale, like I think up to a C. I got paid for a C.
So there were financial incentives for you to learn, essentially.
Right. But I was like, I always liked school, but I was like, well, might as well get paid for it too.
Yeah.
So that was like my start. I was always a saver.
So never, have you, I guess now, are you more of a saver than an investor or kind of what?
So saving for sure. And I guess like those are some of the questions that I have in my financial journey. I'm like starting to uncover some things that like I want to get started because I have saved up money. And like most people, it's like, what do you do with it?
Yeah.
You
Well, you
invest
spend
in
it,
stocks.
obviously.
spend it, I spend mine's on food, restaurants, travel. So
This is an interesting thing perspective I always tell people, right? So all money is for spending.
yeah,
But something that you can buy is security, right? You can
right.
buy freedom, you can buy choices. And so having money in the bank, I think, gives you the option to, you're essentially buying financial security to a degree. You should invest it. But when you grow your money and when you invest your money, I think one of the reasons why it's so hard for people to do that is, one, the fear of like risk. But if you think about like, you're actually like, there's a transaction there. Like if I go and buy like shares of Microsoft,
Right.
it's not because I care about Microsoft. Like, I mean,
Right.
I use Microsoft products, but nobody really cares about that at the end of the day. What I'm really doing is, I think the price is going to go up in the future, and I'm buying security. I'm buying maybe time at the end of my life, right? It's where I don't have to work. So it's a little perspective for you.
Okay. I think one of my questions is like, how do you build your assets at this, time of your life? You're like in your early 30s,
Yeah. So
late 20s.
I'm actually going to bust out the portfolio that I started. And if you're new here, go watch the, I think, first videos I did on this channel where I actually show my portfolio live. And this is a brand new portfolio that I started. So you can see this one's at like $4,400,
okay.
right? So to your question of how do you start, I am really adamant about doing just like a little bit of the right things every day, even when it comes to finance. So every single video where I show that portfolio, I basically try to convince people to just like, even if it's $20 a week, invest it. I think the mistake that people make is they think that they need to have it perfect before they start, which is like cliche. Like people say, just start, but it really is. It's like, imagine if you had been investing $20 every week for the last 10 years, right? Doing it now kind of sounds like it's just like, in 4 weeks, I'd have $80.
Right.
But what if you were doing that for 10 years already, right? But you're not going to get the 10 years unless you start today. So start with a little bit, do that consistently, and money will come and go. So this one, I do $250 a week, which isn't a little, but it's not a lot, right? It's completely relative for people. I could do more, I could do less. That's not the point. The point is just to show what happens when you do a number for a long amount of time, and then you add in compound interest. So I would say just start. Don't be discouraged by the small amounts because time is going to pass. Like, how old are you now?
I just turned 32.
Oh yeah, sorry for that. Making your birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, happy
Thank
belated
you.
birthday. Yeah, so you're going to be 42, right? God willing.
Wow, that's
will.
closer than I thought.
Trust me, I
honest.
know.
Time flies.
I feel your pain. So that time is going to pass, and I'm not going to bust out the calculator and everything right now, but like you could do that, and just imagine if at 42, if you just had X thousand more dollars versus somebody who was afraid, who was like, oh, well, $50 a week is nothing, or $20 a week is nothing, or $100, whatever the number is, and they do nothing. Then they keep doing nothing. And then 10 years pass and you've done nothing, and now you're 42 trying to figure out where to start. So it doesn't have to be optimal, right? But when you have money saved whichever way, it gives you the opportunity to improve and make other choices.
I think a big thing is the fear, right? Like,
Yeah.
I am not a risk taker. I know you
Sure.
are. So
Unfortunately, yeah.
what are some ways, I guess this goes into like way of thinking or philosophies or ways to address that fear for people that you can share or that's been helpful for your journey to like break through that fear?
I can offer some analogies. I think some of it is just based off of how you grew up and like your nature. So I'm a risk taker by nature. Like when I was a kid, we were doing thank God the internet and social media wasn't around because we did a lot of illegal stuff with fire, right? We were blowing stuff up.
Yeah.
Very much a rebel by nature. So to me, not taking risk is boring, right? That's in my nature. But so how do we apply that to everybody else? I think perspective. So as I get older though, I obviously, don't want to be at the end of my life with nothing to show for it after working hard, right? Nobody does. So have you ever been sick and been afraid to go to the doctor because you're afraid of what you're going to find out?
I don't think I can relate to that, or maybe the dentist.
The dentist, okay.
Yeah.
It's you don't want to go to the dentist because you're just the dentist is going to give me bad news.
Yeah.
They're going to tell me,
Love the drill.
stuff. So finances is like that for a lot of people. Finances are a lot like going to the dentist because there's these things that if you had just sat down one Saturday for 4 hours and it's a lot of time, right?
Right.
But it's not. 4 hours is in the grand scheme of things, right? And so if you just sit down and take the time to learn, look at your budget, Nobody wants to do that because, when you look at it, you're like, oh yeah, I spent $800 a month
People
on
can
like.
you can shame yourself. People can start shaming themselves and probably go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah. And I'm a very blunt person, so I would just say like, maybe you should be ashamed, like, and that's fine. I'm just.
That's acceptance. This is a little bit of psychology. I like it.
Yeah. Like if you're doing things that don't align to how you would like to live, all right, or your goals or the things that keep you up at night, then yeah, you shouldn't just be like, well, that's the way that I am. Like, no, like who you are kind of sucks financially. So you should change that.
Yeah.
And I think being real with yourself, and it's not about being negative. I tell this to my traders out there. I always tell people, you can't beat yourself up so much. The market's going to beat you up, right? If you make the mistake in the market, you're going to know.
Right.
So you don't need to overly beat yourself up, but you do need to acknowledge the mistake you made, and acknowledgement doesn't mean talking down yourself and doing all this. It just means like, I made this mistake. I'm going to journal it. In the trading world, we journal every day, and so that we don't do it again.
Do you guys have a special journal, or is it just like a normal journal?
I mix mine together. So I actually have a coaching program right now, and I make everybody journal every day. So I'm adamant, because our relationship with money is so emotional.
It is,
that you should journal, especially for trade, because as a trader, you're risking money to make money. So when you lose money, not only did you mess up, but there's like a big psychological impact, especially when you're new, right? It can be very frustrating. You go into like a cycle of like what we call tilt or despair. So it helps to journal how you feel, because in order to be a good trader, you have to trade from a place of confidence, right? So what was the original question?
You know what?
I went down a trading rabbit hole.
Same. Well, I think we were talking about like you were giving some insights of how to break through the fear, some analogy.
Yes. So it just comes down to perspective. Perspective is everything. The same for trading, the same for investing. And I'd say humans in general, and I'd be curious on your take on this, are focused most of their time on avoiding pain than they do on anything else.
I like to call it the lust for relief. I read it in a book. It's not my words.
Do you remember the book?
I don't. I think I was studying addictions at that point in my
lust for relief
career.
That's a bar. That's a good one.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So in finance, I think everybody wants the silver bullet. They want to, essentially be given the answer, but it's like my life and your lives are drastically different. But there is a common thread of just like, and this is why I say don't try to optimize it. Like, don't spend a year trying to figure out exactly what you should do. It's like, look, just invest, do some homework. It's going to take hours, but the benefit of spending a few hours just doing homework is like the rest of your life.
Right. I mean, I spend a couple hours on TikTok, so I guess that can translate to
exactly
where I put my time.
So yeah, I mean, some of it is just like swallowing the pill of just like, you got to be an adult, and like, it's not simple,
right?
But it is straightforward in my opinion.
Okay. So this sparks a question that goes right into it, actually. What are some like healthy financial habits to have? So being mindful of where you are financially is one, like taking the time to journal, look at your income, where is it going, how you're spending it, and then what are some other like habits to have?
Yeah. We live in a world where everything costs money, right? So I think people will try to fool themselves into saying like they don't care about money. Maybe you're not materialistic,
right?
Which is fine, but you definitely care about money, because even if you're not buying stuff, you've got to pay for experiences, you've got to pay for a home, the people around you need things, depend on you, you'll get hurt, other people will get hurt, right? And the world's likely not going to get fixed in our lifetime, so you're going to need money. So I think just being very aware of any bad spending habits that you have. So I'm not frugal by any means, but I'm very self-aware of that. So I focus on like, I'm also an entrepreneur, like I can make money. So I guess I'm frugal in some ways, but in other things I'm not. Like if there's something that like for the studio, like I will spend the money on it immediately. I don't care, right? Because it's where I'm investing all of my time.
Right.
But
so this is an important question. So what kind of toilet paper do you buy?
Honestly, whatever's on the shelf.
Okay.
I don't
care.
Have a preference. I think Continental, is that a brand?
Yeah, it's blue.
Yeah, I literally just go probably for whatever the fanciest packaging is. Like, this will probably feel good on my cheeks.
Got it.
That's it. Do you have a brand favorite?
So actually, I'm going like health. I'm health conscious now. So like about like what they put in toilet paper. Apparently they put like this crap in it. So I go like the clean, non-toxic route.
What are they putting in toilet paper?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at it. It's like they bleach it actually. So think about, sorry, this is a visual, but like you're wiping your most intimate parts with like bleach.
Don't people bleach their, already? People are bleaching their booty holes, guys. I'm sure they are.
Probably.
I'm sure they are.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyways, your environment and the toxins in your environment, your skin is like the largest organ, so you're absorbing everything.
That's true.
So
I did get there's some wet wipes in the bathroom, but I did invest in those recently.
okay.
So, yeah. But in terms of money.
Yeah, in terms of money, I mean, like that's a pretty big, I think, people spending a lot of, we're going off topic, but like health and wellness, like
yeah, I invest a lot.
Organic food is expensive.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with like, if you're a health nut, if you're spending a lot of money on that, I don't think that's a problem at all, actually. Like life, your life is the one thing you're going to run out of, right? So I don't think like, imagine I lived to be 150 and died broke, like, well,
that means you spent it well, right?
Exactly. Versus,
because you can't take it with you.
Yeah, I don't want to die at 72 rich, I'm going to die when I die. But the point is, like, I don't think there is any common answer, but I do think we have to be honest with ourselves. Right. A lot of people, will lie to themselves and lie to other people about how they feel about money. It's like they complain about not being able to pay their bills, they complain about this and that, and then they go, oh, I don't really care about money. Mm-hmm. It's like, it seems like you just don't want to address it. And so I think just be honest with yourself. Everyone should write down. So I have my traders like write down goals. Mm-hmm. I'm a very goal oriented person. So I do like goal setting like once a quarter, even more often than that. Write down your financial goals or even life goals. You can start with life goals. What does my financial life need to look like to support the life that I want to live? It's that simple. Okay. So if you're a very simple person and you just want to like live in a modest house, have some kids, cool. Kids cost a lot of money, right? They got to go to school. They have to go to college eventually. They'll get sick. You're going to get old. You're going to have to take care of yourself and your family. So like your simple lifestyle costs money, okay? If you want to live an unsimple life, you want a big house, you want a Lamborghini. Okay, Lamborghini's maintenance, even if you pay for a Lambo with cash, maintaining supercars costs a lot of money, right? One trip to getting tires on a supercar could be like 20 grand.
Oh my gosh.
Okay? So that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of people just like think about it at a surface level and it's like, and like I said, it's not easy, but it's straightforward. I think of finance as kind of like a marathon. Mm-hmm. Like running a marathon is, you just run. Like it's not, anybody can run a marathon. A lot of people don't because it's hard. Yeah. But it's so straightforward. Like if you want to train for a marathon, just like go run every day. It's like it's the simplest thing. Yeah. But people avoid it, right? Because of the pain or the perceived pain.
Or what they're scared they'll find about themselves or learn about themselves.
Yep.
I mean, it is consistency. It's what I keep hearing. Yeah.
Okay. What else you got for me?
Any resources? Like, where do you track your goals? Like, is there one place that you go to where you see your goals? And
not really. So, I mean, I journal, right? So I have like my goals, like I have like daily affirmations and things like that I say. My goals, because I have like a business and all of these things. So some are pretty like specific, then some are more like abstract, like personal goals, right? So it could just be something like one of my affirmations is that like, I'm the personification of confidence. My dreams are not dreams to me. They are the reason for my existence and I live them daily, right? And I've said that so many times that I just know it off the top of my head. Mm-hmm. So that's not necessarily a goal, but it's a belief that I've internalized. There's not a one-to-one necessarily with having a good financial life, but if you just ask yourself, if somebody who knows exactly who they want to be and what they want out of life is going to have a better financial situation than somebody who's just kind of, bumbling by. So yeah, I'm curious, so you're like studying now. So like, what are some of your financial goals? What are you working towards?
On the spot.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely, so right now I am not working full time.
Yeah. So
I am actually living off my savings a little bit and I'm investing in myself.
There you go.
So that's one of, I guess, like my goals and starting my own business.
Awesome.
So I actually had some questions about that. If you have any wisdom, wise words for someone starting off. So how long have you been in navigating like your own business?
I've been like a serial entrepreneur, so I've done like consulting, because I'm a software engineer by trade. And so I did like software consulting for a while. I have my real estate business. So it's been like different types of things and like trying to figure out what is the perfect mix of like entrepreneurship and passion. But I've probably been like, if you go back to like when I first got into real estate, or I guess it was even before that, yeah, probably like 10 years now of just like trying stuff. So yeah,
Okay.
long time.
Yeah. So I guess like, well, I have two questions actually that just
Sure.
popped in. What would you say to yourself with what you know now back then and like starting a business? Like, is there a financial plan that you had to acquire, or kind of like a blueprint for your business per se? Where did you get that blueprint?
I would say to myself back then, right? Failing at business is going to hurt a lot more than you expect. That's what I would say.
Damn.
And just because there's so many cliches
Right.
in life, and everyone's like, yeah, you know, you just fail and you just keep going,
Right.
you know, but failure comes in different ways and different doses. So it's not necessarily like things just don't always pan out how you imagine. Plus, when you're younger, right, as you get older, you're going to experience new things and your goals are going to change, right? And so one of the things that'll happen to you is you'll invest a lot of time into something, and you might even take it pretty far, and then you just be like, I don't want to do this, you know? And you'll have to like face yourself and understand that like that's fine, right? You might put all your eggs in one basket, fail completely, right? You told everybody you're going to do it, didn't work out. It's going to suck. It's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you time that you're not going to get back. And people say, you just got to bounce back. It's not, it's not so easy to just bounce back sometimes. So I haven't had like crazy, I don't know. I think my failures in business have been like spread out across time, but there definitely have been times where I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. You know, like maybe I just need to like chill, but part of that is burnout. So
That's real.
yeah, I would just say if you're new, you're going to face burnout. You're going to want to quit. Nobody around you is really going to hold you accountable, right? And so self-accountability, another cliche, is so hard. It's so hard when literally, imagine you've been on a 59-day streak of just getting stuff done. 59 days, just self-accountable.
Right.
Every single day you're working. Day 60 comes, you don't want to do it. You just really don't want to do it. You know, you've got clients waiting on you. And there's no particular reason. It's just the 60th day and you're like really freaking tired. You need a break. And if you take a break, no one's going to stop you. Right? No one's going to like call you like, what the heck's happening? You know, your clients are just going to be disgruntled and there'll be like this slow unwinding of your business. So that's what it's like when you start a business. So, you know, I would say don't do it on your own. Get a team. You know, that's part of why I reached out to you. Tell me with this. One of my biggest problems is trying to do too much personally. So just relying on other people, bringing other people on board, and just, doing that for my own sanity is super important. So find a team, I would say, even if it's just one other person. And they don't have to be like directly, you know, in your business, but you should either like hire people or work with people that are good at what they do and that you like, right? It's just going to make things easier because eventually you'll be successful enough to where there's just too much for you to do, right? And the success of your business can crush you too, right? Because there's...
Yeah. Some people aren't ready for the success that will come their way, which will, crush them.
Yep.
So one of my other goals is to buy a second property.
Okay.
I literally have no idea about the market or what that looks like, or even in the face of the election coming up, how that will change things.
Yep.
So what are some like random or some thoughts that come to mind about real estate? And
let's do this. Let's define that better.
Okay.
You want to buy another property. Why?
Because I want to build my assets, Forrest. I want to build. I would like to invest in real estate.
Okay. Why?
So that I can build more financial freedom, so that I could have another avenue for income.
Why real estate though?
I feel like for me that's safer. It's like, I don't know, concrete.
Are you sure?
I think I'm sure. Now I'm doubting myself.
There's no right answer. I just want to know if you're sure. Like, what is this? Because the reason I'm asking these questions is, and I do this for all the people that like or in my trading program, people will say things, oh, I think the market's not, it's done here. And I'll be like, why? And then it's like, well, because I'm like, well, and I'm like, well, why? Right. So it's totally fine to want to,
Yeah.
I love real estate. So my reason for wanting to buy real estate, I can tell you, is I love tangible things. I like being
Right.
able to look out in the world and own a piece of it.
Be like, okay, this is mine.
Yeah. So that's the reason I want to do it versus, because like you could build wealth investing in the stock market.
Right.
You could buy a bunch of ice cream shops. You go open a franchise at Chipotle, right? So if your goal is to build wealth, then it's really easy for me to be like, well, why do you want to buy another house? Like, just go do something else, right? You get stuck chasing options. If you want to specifically like, well, I like real estate, or I would even challenge the question of it being safer. Someone who's in real estate is very hands-on. Okay, it can require large sums of capital randomly, right? Especially if you're doing single-family homes. So safe, my problem with like YouTube advice sometimes is like everyone's like, it's a passive investment. It's not. How much time have you spent working on your own house?
A lot.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah.
You think that's going to disappear just because you don't live in a different one?
Yeah, true.
Exactly. So it doesn't mean it's a bad idea.
Okay.
These are just realities. And I see people fail quietly in real estate all the time. Like, get on Instagram, like, yeah, I got all these properties, blah, 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 blah. Then you don't hear from them. It's, because their business exploded and they're underwater and they don't want to talk about it. But as someone who's in real estate, I can tell you, I know for a fact that this happens. The Airbnb business, so many people here got annihilated. That's why nobody talks about it anymore. All these people are underwater, every single one of them. For a fact, I'm telling you. So it's a great business. It's not hands off. Okay. One of the best pieces of advice I got from my mentor when I bought a sixplex near my hometown, he said, don't dabble. He said, everybody who dabbles in real estate fails. And it makes sense once you're in, because the way you make money in real estate is by being hands-on. It's by getting a property at a good price. You'll never fix a property that you get at a bad price. So I would say that's number one. If you want to invest in real estate, you've got a 30-year mortgage, you're locked in. So you need to think about if it's an investment property, every single dollar that you go in or that you spend, you need to think about how that's going to change the value of your property over a long time, right? Because you're essentially playing the long game. But it's not hands off. It's going to require money. And you might be losing money in the first few years, honestly. Right? You should expect, if I buy a property that needs work, unless I flip it,
right,
you're not going to make money. You're not. So like my advice would be get a spreadsheet, spend the hours, the stuff that's boring, nobody ever does, like get a spreadsheet. And like what you'll find, I did this a lot, by the way, is that a lot of things don't work out when you actually put it in a spreadsheet. And you scratch your head and you're like, how's everybody else doing it? It's because they're lying.
Wow.
They're all lying. But again, you can make any deal work if you lower the price that you bought it at, obviously, right? But so people are so excited, like, yeah, I got a property, and I'm just like, what? You bought it for $2 million, which means your mortgage is like $33,000 a month, whatever it is.
Oh my gosh.
And you're renting it out for $16,000 a month. So like, where's the money being made? Yeah, that was a little rant on real estate, but
all good.
You should totally do it.
All right. Thanks. I'll get my spreadsheet out. What are your thoughts on crypto?
Crypto.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I know nothing, by the way.
Yeah.
But
nothing?
I just know it's like not real. I don't know.
Well, nothing's real.
Oh, true. Money isn't real either, right?
No, I mean,
the
like,
paper.
We're not. No, I'm kidding.
Whoa.
Crypto. Whew. Wow. Where to start? So I would say crypto is the future. I don't know when. So I have a sizable crypto investments myself, but I'm looking like 10 years out. If you're somebody if you buy crypto right now because your friend told you to get some crypto coin,
Right.
please tell me about it
Okay.
so that I can inverse you, because you're probably going to lose money.
Okay.
Like, you have to look long term. There are random, like, lucky people. But yeah, if you're going to invest in crypto, just understand that money should be put away for a long time. It's very speculative, right? I would say all crypto is speculative, even Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin could go up and up and up, but there's no reason why Bitcoin couldn't go like to $1. And people would like crucify me and come up with all these arguments, but it's entirely possible, right? Just like it's possible it goes up to 100,000 because it's just based off of nothing, right? So yeah, I think there's a place for blockchain for sure. There are real use cases for it, like digitization digitization of like assets and ownership. I think bank records, right? So I used to be a software engineer working on software to move money between banks, right?
Oh, okay.
Takes, you know how like Zelle, you ever Zelle somebody
Yes.
money? You know why Zelle exists?
Tell me.
Because the bank can't just like do it themselves. It doesn't make sense. The reason
Really?
Zelle exists is because banks can't move money quickly between each other, even though they should be able to. It makes no sense, right?
Wow.
Yeah, crypto could solve that. Like I can move $200,000 from one crypto wallet in like 3 seconds to another one. Super duper fast, okay?
Wow.
So that's an immediate use case for crypto. So there are real use cases. The problem is if I'm a Citibank or a US bank, I'm not going to give up, my monopoly in certain markets just to make the world a better place because I'm a capitalist, right? I'm in it to make money. And yeah, until they can make money based off of the enhancements, nothing's going to change. So that's why I say long time out. Yeah.
Did not know that about Zelle.
Yeah. Zelle shouldn't exist. Like Zelle exists because what's the thing at the airport? It's not TSA. It's the other one.
Pre-check
You can pay for it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But it's not TSA. It's like that private company.
Yes.
It's the same thing.
Yes, with a little check mark where you like just go through the line faster.
Yeah, it's a business that shouldn't exist, and it exists because of a problem we made up, right? Where it's like,
Wow.
hey, TSA pre-check too slow? Let's make another line. You can just pay $100 and get in this line. And it's like, why don't we just make this one faster? Like, no. We can't do that. Someone's got to capitalize on this. So
It's America for you.
yeah, how are we doing on?
Real quick, did you know, I just learned this from a friend.
You have friends?
I do have friends. Everyone should have friends. That companies are putting out like fake job applications on Indeed to make themselves look like they're doing better to investors than they actually are. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Companies will do anything that's not illegal
Wow.
and things that are illegal
Wow.
if the fine is low enough.
Interesting.
But yeah, there is.
Okay. I'm going to take a turn here. How can you improve your credit score?
Whew, I'm the wrong person to ask for that. So my credit was terrible for a long time.
Okay.
Because I was buying real estate and like completely just like money in, out, just absolutely terrible. I'll give you advice that will apply to, I would say, regular people who aren't like trying to buy real estate or whatever, right?
Right.
You need good credit to go buy a car. Everyone needs to buy a car, right? When you get a mortgage, so not a commercial loan, but when you get a mortgage, you need good credit as well. The easiest way to increase your credit score, I tell people, is to make more money because your debt to income ratio is one of the driving factors. So my credit right now is amazing. It's like 800 and whatever, but my spending habits are entirely the same. I just make way more money.
Right.
Right? But
Okay. So are you saying to get a second job, a side hustle?
well, pay down your debts for sure.
Okay.
A lot of people try to increase their credit by like gaming the system and like getting different cards and like using them and paying them off.
Okay.
Credit history is important. So I got a credit card when I was 18, which worked out for me pretty well. Like Discover sent me a thing. I had like a $500.
Yeah, that was my first credit card.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. So that was hugely beneficial to me because when I graduated college, a lot of my friends were getting their first credit card in their name. And I had 6 years of credit history already. That was hugely beneficial to me. If you're a young person, I would warn you that if you get credit, right, the money that you spend now, you don't want to work to pay off for years and years and years. Okay, so I would say that. I'm an outlier because I'm very like, I've always been hustling and like I would rack up, I'll rack up 30K of debt, pay it off. 30K, pay it off. Pay
So,
it.
side question, what was your side hustle in college? Did you have one?
Yeah, I would fix computers. So I'll fix anything.
That's genius.
I would, yeah. So I've been building PCs since I was like 13. So I would take things. I would literally find computers that people threw away. Like people are very wasteful, exceptionally wasteful. So I would find a computer like the screen broke or like it got ripped off, a laptop. I would go on to eBay at the time. eBay was actually useful at the time. It's a terrible marketplace now because you could buy things from real people. And I would look up the specs of like the screen that it needed. I would figure out and I would like get a new screen, like rebuild the computer, and then I would sell it. I would fix phones back when there was actually money to be made there.
Right.
So I would just leverage I basically assumed that I could fix anything and I would just fix stuff and sell it. So I would do that. A few other odd jobs. I would like for local businesses in Edwardsville, I would like set up their networks. It's funny, the first customer that asked me, they're like, hey, can you wire all the, I had never done it before and had no idea. So like, I remember I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And I spent like the next week just cramming on like figuring out what I needed, because I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I just showed up and I just winged it. So that's what I mean. Like, I'm just like, I just assume that I can learn anything, which everybody, like, you can,
Right.
That's why my approach is like, just spend a few hours. I'm an academic by nature. Like, I love learning things. So like being able to dive into a new topic area.
Wealth is knowledge. And I think you say that in some of your other episodes or channels.
Knowledge is wealth. Yeah,
knowledge.
It is applied knowledge is wealth.
Right.
It's not enough to just look things up. You got to go out into the world and.
So improving your credit score, make more money.
Yeah, and this is a good topic I should get somebody who like really knows credit in and out. But honestly, because my car I paid for like with cash, so didn't apply. I don't own my own house, right? So I have real estate investments where credit doesn't matter there either. So I have an amazing credit score, but it literally doesn't matter for anything in my life. If you're a regular person, though, your credit score matters when you buy a house. It's going to determine the rate that you get, and every point on your mortgage, right? Your interest rate could be thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. So it's immensely important, but the easiest way to improve your credit score is to make more money or aggressively pay down debt, right? Debt to income ratio, right? Because they want to look at your ability to service debt when you get a loan, okay? Tangentially, one of the biggest problems right now is auto loans. People go out, I refuse to have a car payment, right? I can afford that now. I'm in a place in my life, but even my last car, I paid it off aggressively. I think having a car payment is one of the most wasteful things. Obviously, not everybody can make that choice. People need cars. I totally get that. But I would say don't go and maximize your car payment. So get a car that's like $300, $400 a month. There are people out here paying $1,000, $1,200 a month for a car. And I'm just like, dude, like that's a depreciating asset. It's getting dinged up. The nicest car, like, gonna hit a pothole.
Right.
I'm a car guy, but like, even if I buy an exotic car or anything, like, I refuse to make car payments on a vehicle that just gets you from A to B. So that's a huge problem that gets people stuck in a cycle of bad credit. Because they are essentially buying the nicest car that they can afford, to make monthly payments on, and it stops them from being able to save. So if all your money goes into paying monthly, liabilities, you can never save, you can never start investing. And then when your car breaks, it reaches its end of life, your only option is really to trade it in and do the same cycle over because you have no wiggle room. And that's how people get stuck.
So in general, I guess it depends where you are in your life to get a credit card or not, or to get
a credit card?
Yeah.
I think everyone should have one. Yeah. So I would say if you don't have one, get one as soon as possible. Get a low credit, right? Get the lowest. If you've been living without a credit card, get the lowest amount of credit that is possible. Like my first credit card was $500 limit.
Yeah.
Okay. At most, I would say look at your monthly spend, like your rent, your bills, and get that as your limit. So literally look at how much you actually spend and make that your credit card limit. Because the second you go over your average monthly spend, you're going to spend the next few months catching up. Because now you have to essentially live your life differently to pay that down because of one moment in time where you overspent. That's the reality for a lot of people. They're like, oh, you make $10,000 a month and your credit card debt is, $30,000. You're going to be constantly trying to save every nickel and penny to pay that down instead of just, you can max out your card, pay it off,
Got it.
essentially over and over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there one credit card company that you feel has a lot of benefits and worth?
I have no idea.
No. Okay.
I use Chase for both my business credit and my personal. I will say, really cool thing is like all this stuff, which is like, a lot. We want to. I get points on my business, and what's cool is with business credit points, you can spend on personal. So that would be my tip to you, Miss Entrepreneur.
Yes.
Is business credit card.
Okay.
And all the stuff that you have to buy, like you can use those points to buy tickets And that is non-taxable. So things you buy, like it's not income, right?
Right.
The points essentially aren't income. You could just use it to pay down your credit card, right? But
Okay.
hopefully your business is making money to pay down the card, right? If that's not the case, pay down your debts with the points. But if your business is profitable, pay off your credit and use the points to just like have fun. It's like the coolest thing I unlocked because I spent a lot of money on gear and stuff. And I'm like, wait a second, like I have hundreds of thousands of points. I could just like fly for free.
That's awesome.
Sick.
That's where I want my points to go. Travel.
I think that's about it. Any closing thoughts? Did you enjoy this conversation?
I did. I think we got a little bit of everything. Some practical skills, some homework I have to do.
Sure.
And then, talked a little bit about psychology and mindset behind money, which is really important.
What was the most interesting thing from this chit chat?
I'm stuck on the Zelle, one of them. And I think I think what was helpful for me, I know I have a fear of risk taking.
Yeah.
So starting my own business is me like breaking that fear, but just like your perspective and your mindset.
Well, I would end it like this, right? When you start your own business, right, you're betting on yourself, right? But when you work for somebody else, they're betting on you too. So there's plenty of proof out there that you can get the job done.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. See you in the next video.
You're never gonna look back, 'cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast.